Morning, lovely viewer. Houston, we have a problem. I think we could have a problem. Now, you might notice there's a gap here. I've dug a rose up, and what I want to talk to you about in this video is rose replant disease. Now, first of all, a caveat, I'm not an expert on rose replant disease. I'm not claiming to be an expert, but it is something I do want to talk about, because I think it's possible that I've come up against it. Now, the gap in that soil that you've just seen there was a rose planted there for about 18 months, and this year I dug it up and I planted a rosemary harkness there that is no longer there, and we're going to talk about that particular rose in a little while. But first of all, I just wanted to show you, to give you an idea, I wanted to show you around the rest of my roses, because they're all very sort of similar in terms of their health. They're all doing okay. I've got some blind stems on some of my roses, and I've got other roses. There's just sort of one bud on some of them, not these roses here, but they're all doing okay. But rose replant disease, if you're not aware, it's an illness that affects roses. If you leave a rose in the ground for any length of time, as it matures, its roots, they grow, and those roots, they contaminate the soil that it comes into contact with against new roses being planted. Now, roses, they seem to get on fine when you plant them together, when you have them in a nice long row, even when they're close together. When they grow together, there seems to be harmony, and they seem to be okay. But it's when you, for whatever reason, extract one rose and you plant a new rose in its space, if the original rose has been there for this any length of time, that new rose will suffer. It will get an illness. Now, David Austin, I believe I'm right in saying it's documented, he suggested 5 to 7 years was the length of time. 5 to 7 years for an established rose to then go on to contaminate the soil around it against new roses from being planted. Now, when I was on the rose pruning course, I went out of my way to talk about this rose replant disease. And I asked them, what is this length of time before a rose contaminates the soil that it's surrounded by? And they told me 5 years. They told me 5 years, and I even said, so after, say, 2 or 3 years, would it be okay to extract a rose and plant a new rose in its spot? And they said, sure, 2-3 years, no problem. It's 5 years and over. That's when you're gonna come up against this problem. And that's how I've worked my garden. I have in the past, I've dug up some roses after 1 or 2 years. That one there being an example. In fact, I'll show you that at the end. I might leave you with that rose. Yeah, I've had some potted roses that have done very well for me, and I wanted to get them in the ground, and for one reason or another I've had to move a rose here or there for various reasons, and the new potted roses have gone in their spot. And this is where I've come up against this problem. But you're looking around, all my roses, they are very similar. At this moment in time, they're all looking good. I have got some black spot that's just starting to appear, but overall I have to say I'm very happy. But then we get to this spot here. Now, I did have sweet honey planted here, as many of you know. It was there for 2 years, and it grew too big. It grew too big, so I dug it up. And in this spot here, I had Caroline Knight. That was there for, I think, 18 months. And I dug that up. Now, when I dug up Sweet Honey, I dug it up it left a hole in the ground, and I backfilled some of that hole just with some topsoil, but I didn't excavate any of the soil around here. I literally just dug the hole. And when I planted this rosemary harkness, I put mycorrhizal fungi down. I've mulched on top, and I've done the same here. But I'm gonna drop some footage in this video here of the rosemary harkness at the start of the video. Remember I showed you that gap? There was a different rosemary harkness that I planted in there, the same means. And if you look at that footage, it's not good. Within a month or two, it started to become unwell. And the fresh foliage, the new foliage, it started to sag. And then it started to develop these brown spots, and it got worse and worse. And unfortunately, that's the only footage that I've got of that rosemary harkness. It went on to get increasingly bad, and I ended up digging that rosemary harkness up. It was practically entirely defoliated, and I have since put that rosemary harkness in a pot, and I'm hoping it survives. But these two roses here, they're now starting to show similar signs. Can you see this? It's just starting. This is how that rosemary harkness out the front started. This is Bliss Parfuma. And like I say, I didn't excavate a whole load of soil, but you see all these brown spots developing. And if you can see here, the same thing, this new foliage is starting to sag. The fresh foliage is just starting to sag. Now, rose replant disease is something that there's not too much information on the internet. There really isn't. And in terms of what it actually looks like, is even more difficult to find. I don't know how it manifests itself, what it comes across as, but I'm showing you these because this is exactly the same as what the rose out the front look like. Now, I've said already, David Austin said 5 to 7 years on my rose pruning course. They said 5 years. Now, just on the off chance, because of all my roses to not be doing well, the two that I've recently planted in spots that were taken up by roses and the one out the front, they're the ones that are looking sick. They're the ones that are looking ill. I googled it and I checked out this rose replant disease. Now, there is a website, the Royal Horticultural Society, and they are a respected organisation, and I almost fell over in shock when I saw that they say that the period of time for a rose to be in the ground, it can be as little as 9 months. 9 months. I almost fell over. So I think that could be rose replant disease. Now, I know there are some cures that people are claiming, but I know also that the scientists are still scratching their head, because there's partial successes that I'm hearing of here and there, but it is still a problem, and it's not something, I don't think, that gets mentioned too much on the internet. And I think it's possible that I have come up against it here. So if there's any rose experts that know what it looks like, then please do get in touch. Now, talking of experts, I do on occasion, I like to plug channels here or there, other people's, and today I'm gonna plug the Rose Geek, because she's got a Facebook group. Now, Facebook, I'm not huge into Facebook. I joined Facebook many years ago, and for many years I've had a pseudonym on Facebook. But her group, there's about like 6,000 members or something, and there's an awful lot of experts on there. There's an awful lot of fantastic gardens, fantastic photographs, gardens that put mine to shame. So if you're on Facebook and you're into roses, I suggest you check out her Facebook group. It's something that's very active as well. If you've got questions, it's always good to get, you know, a broad spectrum of opinions before you make a decision from all different climates. But that's where I'm at today. That is where I'm at today. Now, rose replant disease, like I say, it's I may have dropped a boo-boo here. I should have perhaps excavated all of this soil. With hindsight, that is what I should have done. I didn't do that. I put down the mycorrhizal fungi, I put down a shed load of mulch, I even backfilled with fresh topsoil, but I don't think it was enough. I don't think it was enough. And I've got a horrible feeling. I've got another Bliss Parfuma out the front that I planted in the ground in a brand new spot that is doing very well despite being eaten by rabbits. But as you can see, this one here, there's something not quite right. Right, what am I going to leave you with? I'm not going to leave you with my one rose in the garden. I'm going to leave you with some apple blossom. But if you're an expert, please do drop a comment, let me know your thoughts. I am struggling to find answers on rose replant disease. It's something I will talk about more in the summer. The fact that here in the UK we only have grafted roses, and I think that is a shame, because own root roses of course last much longer. But anyway, I hope you have a lovely day.